Does lower back pain bother you and you are looking for natural ways to treat it? And in this episode, we are going to share the top 3 first aid home remedies for lower back pain. Hi, this is Zia and this is
Kamana, and welcome to Holistic Nomads TV,
where ancient wisdom and modern science can help you to have more clarity and energy in your life. So lower back pain, an imbalance that unfortunately many people experiencing and going through.
Yeah, I think it's 1 in 4 people will experience lower back pain over their life.
Yeah, would you say that women will have a tendency to experience more than men?
Well, as lower back pain is associated with more of a Vata dominance, it's about 80% of lower back pain would be caused through Vata, and women tend to have more Vata than men. That could be a generalization, yeah.
Okay, so you already mentioned a little bit about Vata
Yeah.
before we go through the top 3 first aid on home remedies for lower back pain.
Yeah.
What's the correlation between this imbalance, early sign of imbalance, would you say?
Yeah.
Lower back pain
Yeah.
with Ayurveda. So how Ayurveda sees that?
Well, like everything in Ayurveda, we're always looking for the qualities of balance, and they tell us where balance and imbalance is. So technically lower back pain could be caused by any of the 3 doshas. So we'd have to really narrow in and go what qualities, what signs and symptoms is presenting for that person to really know which dosha, which disease forming influence is the dosha quality. It's how we track the cause of disease in Ayurveda, is the primary thing that's causing it. Yet in my experience, I would say 80% of cases of lower back pain or more, it's Vata that are usually causing it. These will be pain, irregularity in the body shape. It'll get worse through fear and worry. And this is what we really want to emphasize at the beginning here. Before we get into the top 3 remedies, we've got to look at the holistic mindset that's involved in how lower back pain really begins. And often, like most disease, it forms first in our mind, it forms first in our psychology. When we move into fear, worry, anxiety, there's certain muscles that tend to contract inside the body. So we think of someone in fear and the posture pulls inwards and downwards. And down here in the lower back, there's a muscle that's called the iliopsoas muscle. It attaches on the inside of the thighs in here and goes right through the middle of the hips and attaches right from the sacrum all the way up to T12. So it covers the whole lumbar vertebrae, but from the inside it's attaching there. So when we move into fear, that muscle pulls tight, it contracts and it compresses the whole lower back. So here we can see that anytime someone's in a stress, fight or flight, next activity, go, 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 that's going to be pulling tighter. It's going to be encouraging a more compact muscular structure and putting pressure on the discs, meaning more disc degeneration, more prolapse inside the internal organs, more chances of pain and lower back issues. So we really need to look at that as a key thing. How can we reduce overall stress in the mind? How can we have a mindset that feels safe, stable and secure? Maybe self-talk, focusing more on what you're grateful for and less on what you're stressed about. Really emphasizing where in my life do I have stability? Thinking of the glass as half full or overflowing rather than the glass as half empty and focusing on the things that could go wrong. You'll find that if you really focus on it, there's probably a lot in your life that is actually quite stable and reliable. So we start with this mindset, and included in mindset, we also need to look at the relationship between pain and the strength of the mind. And lots of studies have shown that the most powerful painkiller is not something we take, but it's how we use our mind and our awareness of it. And I've actually had a friend who's gone through some intense surgeries with no painkillers at all. And I go through dental procedures without painkillers. And I try to focus my mind on more of an awareness state. I don't get lost in the pain. I don't go, oh, my body is this pain, I'm experiencing it. I go, oh, the body is experiencing some pain, and I am something different. I am mindful, I am separate to that, and I can observe the pain from a distance rather than being caught inside it. And yes, the pain is still there, but it's nowhere near as intense. And studies have shown the longer we do this practice for, the more that we're able to tolerate high amounts of pain without it actually disturbing our life. We can move through our day and many other activities without the pain being so intense. So this mindfulness mindset has a double-edged sword here. One, it reduces fear and stress, decreasing the chances of even getting lower back issues. And two, it strengthens your ability to deal with them when they arise so that you're able to facilitate good functional movement and not get identified with the pain process, which usually fulfills a longer term cycle of more pain, more hardship, more inflammatory processes in the body.
Before we continue with the top 3 home remedies for lower back pain, I would like to correlate the lower back pain with Vata, and especially Vata cycle of the month for women, the menstrual cycle. So I think we already talked a little bit about that in the previous episodes about menstrual cycle. There is 3 dosha, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and we also can see that throughout the monthly cycle of women. So the bleeding cycle, which is associated with Vata, is the one where women usually have a tendency to have lower back pain compared to the other part of the months. And that's when we experience usually fear and sadness, basically letting go of that, which is then, association of that experience of letting go, any type of letting go, will then trigger lower back pain. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Anytime we go through a Vata dominant cycle, whether it be the menstrual cycle and the point of bleed, it's Vata peak, or the peak winter and the dry winter, all of these things will encourage more of the Vata to build up in the system and to experience a higher chance of lower back pain.
Great. I will also recommend to watch our previous episode about how to balance Vata, everything about Vata, the season, the color, the animals, the time of the day, everything in that video. We will put the link below. So let's go to the 3 remedies.
Yep.
What is the first one?
The first one is what's known as roll and release. And here we're looking at the fascia system. For those that don't know about fascia, I think it's an incredibly fascinating subject that's really an unfolding new system inside the body. In fact, many people are now saying they've found a new organ, that the fascia itself is an organ. And fascia is like long bands of connective tissue, and they store masses of fluid inside the body. And as we age, they often become drier. And there's a really important fascia in relation to lower back pain called the thoracolumbar fascia. And it comes right up through the thorax and into the shoulders here and goes down over the lower back and towards the buttocks. And this fascia, they're now discovering, is more responsible for lower back pain than discompression and a lot of the other things that they thought in the past were the primary structural reasons. They're now realizing that this fascia gets dry and tight, and that dry tightness in the fascia tends to then affect the whole body. And if we look at Chinese medicine and its understanding of these meridians, these energy channels in the body, we have a strong relationship towards fascia. There's a fascia channel that's called the superficial back line, and it runs over the top of the head and all the way down the backs of the body and down out the bottom of the heel and underneath the arch of the foot. And this superficial back line has a strong relationship to the Chinese meridian called the bladder meridian. And through this understanding, and now back up with modern research, we can affect the thoracolumbar fascia, the bladder meridian, by doing what we call roll and release in certain parts of the body. And particularly really effective is the foot. So this again comes back to our balancing Vata. The bladder meridian, its primary thing that it's imbalanced by mentally and emotionally is fear. It also strongly gets aggravated by dryness. These are qualities that aggravate Vata. And we can treat Vata very effectively through body work that works on the feet. So here we're working on the feet on a meridian and a fascia channel that leads right up into the lower back. And I think people will find this quite miraculous, how they can work on the feet and have a huge effect on the rest of the body. So I'm going to show you some of the things that would be used for that. So here are the type of rolling balls that are often used. Here, I'm first going to show the one that was given to me a long time ago, and it has these little knobs on it, and it's quite hard. And I've been working quite a bit with a fascia and roll and release expert named Nina Watson. Her website is Yoga Sparkle. She's presently living in Kuala Lumpur, yet she travels around the world and teaches if you'd like to check out her stuff. She thinks that these balls with the knobs on them are too hard and are too intense for the fascia. When we really push into the fascia intensely, sometimes we're tearing its structure a little bit, and that's needed to tear its structure. She prefers to use the rubber balls, something like this, and we'll link up where you can find these rubber balls on Amazon. They have a bit of a softer consistency to them, and there's no knobs that are going to push right into the fascia. So I'm going to demonstrate it here using my hand as if it's my foot, and I'd use the heel of my foot and I'd place it on the ground, and then I'd sink into the arch of my foot. And if this is really quite painful, you don't need to go so far. Be soft with the body. Allow it lots of time. Don't be ripping into the fascia. This system, remember, is full of fluid. And what we're trying to do here is squeeze into the fluid with your body weight and just sink and allow it to sit there for a period of time. We're not looking for no pain, no gain. We're looking for a gentle opening inside the tissue. And then from that sinking, you can start to then roll left and right. So you're rolling and you're separating the fascia by this gentle left and right movement. And you can be really slow with this. You can do one breath to roll all the way to one side of the foot and another breath to roll all the way to the other side of the foot. You can work this in different points, going up and down the foot, but with a rolling left and right. Still, the heel is on the ground most of the time, so you can support part of your weight. You're not putting all of the weight on that foot. You've got another foot on the ground here that's supporting your weight as well, and you're seeing how much you can sink into that. And also a squeezing of the toes in and out. So you'll squeeze and you'll grip the ball like this with your toes, and then you'll lift up the toes and see how much you can spread them. So moving through these sorts of rolling patterns throughout the whole bottom of the foot will influence the fascia that rises up the back of the leg and comes right up into the lower back, and it'll really help to release that. You can also use these balls to roll and release into the lower back. Again, I'd start with the same principle. First, just place them into the lower back. Normally two of them will come together in some form of sock type design like this. Hold them together. If you want to, you can use tennis balls as well and put them in a sock, yet these softer rubber balls are the most ideal. So you place them into the lower back and you just sink, allow the body to just sink into that. And then you place your feet on the floor and maybe do a little bit of gentle rolling up and down the spine. Now again, the principle is do not cause lots of pain here. We don't need to be going for a really intense action. So find a way to support your body where only just enough weight is on there where you can feel a comfortable opening inside the body. Also, from studies from Robert Schleip, he's a German doctor that's done a lot of studies on the fascia. He says that we don't really need to do these exercises so often. In fact, a daily practice of them could be damaging to the fascia. That once a week for really acute injuries is enough, and for a healthy person that doesn't have much inflammatory processes in the body, maybe twice a week. So it's not a really regular practice. It's opening the fascia up on a once a week basis, especially if you've got acute pain. And remember, the foot is probably more important than the lower back here. Yet, as you become more experienced with it, you'll be able to find lots of videos online and find all sorts of points across the body to roll and release with.
It's really interesting because as dominant Vata, and I would say I have a tendency for lower back pain if my Vata is out of balance, and foot massage is my favorite. Besides facial, of course, I've grown up with it, but like foot massage compared to like full body massage is something that I really, really enjoy. And then not only it's is a reflection point of many parts of the body, but also how it's instantly give a sense of security and groundedness. And I can understand also how you then correlate that with the feeling of being loved as well. So it's just perfect Vata balancing exercise,
Therapy.
things to therapy to
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So that's the first one, roll and release. What will be the second tip?
The second tip is a practice that comes from Ayurveda known as Abhyanga. And Abhyanga, in the translation of Maya Tiwari, she says that it means self-loving practice. And basically it's the practice of applying oil to the whole body. Yet it could also be done to specific body part priorities. And the reason this is so important is because the fascia, the tissues of the body, they tend to dry as we age. And especially if Vata is affecting the tissues more, then they tend to dry. And when tissues dry, they don't have as much movement and flexibility. And applying oil to the body means that enzymes in the skin start to digest that oil and they take it inside. So any oil you could be a bit of sesame oil, a bit of olive oil, any good quality cold pressed oil will be fine. Yet if we wanted to make this procedure more effective, then we've got 3 tips to strengthen the procedure. One would be to use a medicated oil. So a medicated oil means that herbal medicine has been cooked into the oil and it now carries the properties of those herbal ingredients. So the one I'd recommend for lower back pain, especially if it's Vata-caused lower back pain, is Bala Ashwagandha. It helps to ground and calm the mind, it strengthens the nervous system, and it helps to build good lubricated muscular tissue around the area. So you'd rub some of that into the lower back or across the whole body. The second procedure to enhance this would be to do some explorative movement. So you've just rubbed the oil on, and we're not looking to stretch to our extreme. We're looking to do gentle breathing movements and explore what we call pandiculation in anatomy. Just slow, gentle. I'm not trying to stretch to the extreme. I'm just exploring the limits. I'm not at the limit. I'm going, oh, can I feel my body opening up? And particularly we want to do this in areas that are affecting the lower back. So a little rounding of the posture and opening up the whole back line, a little opening of the front here and lengthening up high, and just move through some explorative movements while that oil is on the body. The third procedure to strengthen the Abhyanga, the self-massage, would be the application of warmth. So after we've done this, we would then get into a warm bath, and the warm bath increases all the internal circulation. So the oil started to penetrate in, you've left it on for 10 to 20 minutes, and then you get into a warm bath, and that warm bath is going to allow the oil to really penetrate into the deepest structures of the body and hopefully get right into the lower back and the thoracolumbar fascia that's there.
Abhyanga and warm bath, I would say, is one of my most favorite thing to do, especially when I have my period and I have lower back pain. It was just instantly disappear, and especially if I do it before sleep, so then it also help my sleep to go deeper, because when I'm going through, usually when I go through the lower back pain, I have difficulty sleeping, and even the sleep doesn't really go deep, and I wake up in the night and stuff like that. So yeah, really good. Tested by Zia, approved.
Right.
So what will be the third one, our last tip?
The third one is strength and conditioning training. The stronger our body is and the more conditioned it is, the more it's able to deal with impactful stress and hold a nice posture. If we don't have good strength throughout the system to hold all of the limbs, the fascia, the body, the bones in a nice postural position, feels like a big effort. So this happens to a lot of people when I start coaching them on posture. They're usually going, whoa, this is really intense. I take so much muscular effort for me to try and maintain this position. Yet if we do a lot of strength and conditioning practices, it becomes effortless to hold ourselves in that position for long periods of the time. Becomes really easy. So there's a few principles we look at with strength and conditioning. The first one is internal actions are more important than shapes. So what this means is it's not about the yoga asana shape, and it's not about whether or not you're pushing the barbell up. It's about what are you internally acting, how are you stabilizing the joints and holding the body in a specific position. This is pretty difficult to explain over YouTube. You probably really need to work with a practitioner that understands internal actions, they're actions for alignment. If you're interested, there's Ayurvedic practitioners around the world, and we'll link up the profile page for the Ayurvedic practitioners here. What I'll do is give you a little brief summary of it though. The most important internal actions when it comes to lower back pain are bringing the inner thighs back. So we bring them back and apart, which creates a lot more space in the hip sockets. You'll often find that it creates a bit of a lumbar lower back curve. And you want to keep that inner thighs back and apart and that lumbar lower back curve. And then now you add its opposing action, which is to draw the belly up and in and to lengthen the side body. So that will decrease the lower back curve. So depending on your own individuality, some people will need to apply more of one of these actions, but it's never get rid of the lower back curve and make the lower back flat. It's never take the tailbone under, down and forward. It's still always inner thighs back and apart. Keep that foundation. That is the solid yin foundation. And then we lengthen up from there to create length in the lower back as we draw the belly up and in and the side body long. Now from those internal actions, when they're held, we then start to move through the strength and conditioning exercises. So we keep those actions inside the body and we do squats. We keep those actions and we do lunges. We keep those actions and we do bridges and drawbridges and different things that strengthen the lower portions of the body. We keep those actions and we do a low plank and we do a side plank. Now, if you're suffering from acute lower back pain, you probably want to do these in very small amounts. You're just building up that strength. And allow it to be months that you're doing the program over. For the times when you're not having acute lower back pain, that's the times when you can really push the strength and conditioning a little bit more. You may be doing 9 to 12 reps of either a basic, medium or an advanced exercise for one of those patterns that I've just talked about. As an example, for me to do the squat pattern now, I need to do the squat pattern on one leg at an advanced level for it to even be building strength and conditioning for me. Everyone will be meeting their own specific level. And again, that's best if it's individualized for you. So maybe you want to see a Ayurvedic practitioner to make sure that you're internalizing those actions, holding the limbs in their ideal position while you're performing these overall functional movement patterns to strengthen the system.
So that's the 3 tips that we have today, that Kimana shared today for lower back pain. And because this is all educational purpose, we always highly recommend you to work side by side with qualified practitioners, because at the end, everyone in this world is so unique and individual. So maybe what we share here might not be suitable for you, or can be improved in some other ways that only qualified practitioners know.
Totally agree. We want to share educational information here so that everyone can learn and evolve together. Yet the highlight of this education is working with a qualified practitioner, building more self-awareness for you and educational tools for them, so that together you can find that individual path to vibrant health.
Yeah. If you would like Kimana to help you to treat your lower back pain, then on the caption below there's a link to submit your name and email, so you will be on the waiting list when Kimana is available for the next online consultation. Anything else you would like to add?
Great to share with you all. I really think information and education is the key to change the world, so keep sharing this information with the world too. Look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
Now, theory without practice is wasteful, because hearing leads to forgetting, teaching leads to remembering, and applying leads to mastering. That's why we will encourage you to leave a comment below and share one learning insight from this video. Also, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you will be the first to hear about our future educational videos. And for more resources on health and healing, check out our website holisticnomads.com. There you will find articles, quizzes on Ayurveda, loads of free download, and of course our future events and courses. Thank you so much for watching. We hope it's been beneficial for you. Hope to see you next week. Bye!
What?
Gatul, tunggu, wait, it's itchy.
Okay.
Okay.